The scene opens in silence. A vast, dimly lit chamber stretches into forever, its walls lined with towering mirrors facing one another. Each surface catches a fragment of light and flings it endlessly back and forth, reflections folding into reflections, dissolving the boundary between what is real and what is merely seen. The camera glides slowly between these shimmering corridors, revealing no clear beginning or end, only an eternal echo of itself. The narrator's voice cuts through the stillness. When a mirror looks into another mirror, what does it see? This is not a question about glass or silver. It's a question about existence, about the strange paradox that when something observes itself, it becomes both the observer and the observed, the creator and the creation. It's a question that lives at the heart of every mystery humanity has ever faced. What are we seeing when we look back at ourselves? Is the reflection merely a copy, or is it something more, an infinite recursion that reveals the structure of reality itself? In the first flicker of consciousness, when an ancient human bent down to drink from still water and saw a face staring back, something irreversible happened. Awareness met itself. For the first time, existence was not just existing, it was seeing that it existed. The infinite mirror was born not in glass but in the mind. That moment marked the birth of self-awareness, the dawn of identity, and the beginning of the most intricate paradox in nature, that we can only understand the universe by using a mind that is itself part of it. As the visuals shift, the mirrors begin to distort. Their surfaces ripple like disturbed water, suggesting that reflection is never perfect. Every mirror adds a layer of distortion, every copy slightly different from the original. The deeper the reflections go, the more the truth dissolves into abstraction. The narrator whispers, if infinity is a mirror, then what we call reality may be nothing more than a reflection of reflections. We cut to scenes of galaxies spiraling through space, their arms curving like the shapes formed by rippling light. Then to neural networks inside the brain, firing and echoing like cosmic constellations. The same patterns appear at every scale, in the structure of cells, the flow of rivers, the web of galaxies. The universe seems to fold upon itself in recursive beauty. It is as though nature has written itself in mirrors, a self-referential code repeating across scales from the microscopic to the cosmic. But in this beauty hides unease. Because if everything reflects everything else, where is the original? Where does reality begin and the reflection end? The thought unsettles the viewer. It suggests that perhaps there is no first image, no foundation beneath the layers of mirrors, only infinite regress. We search for the source, but every step we take reveals only another reflection, another question, another copy of our own gaze staring back. The narration slows, becoming more intimate. Imagine standing between two mirrors, it says. You see yourself multiplied to eternity, each reflection smaller, dimmer, until it disappears into nothing. You feel infinite, and yet trapped. Each version of you looks alive, but only the one here in this moment truly is. The rest are ghosts of possibility, echoes of light fading into distance. The music rises, soft, ethereal, tinged with melancholy. The scene captures the essence of the paradox. Infinity feels both divine and claustrophobic. The camera moves closer to one reflection, the face of the observer. For a brief moment, the reflection seems to move on its own, blinking before the real person does. The audience feels the uncanny break, the subtle suggestion that the mirror might be watching us. The boundaries between observer and observed begin to blur. The narration continues, every time we look into the mirror, we are reminded of a truth we cannot fully grasp, that the universe might be doing the same thing. It may be observing itself through us. We shift now from the physical mirror to the metaphorical one. Every scientific instrument, from telescopes peering into distant galaxies to microscopes diving into the structure of atoms, acts as a mirror, reflecting reality back to us in patterns we can understand. Yet each reflection depends on how we look, what we measure, what we believe. The act of observation shapes what is seen. The deeper we look, the more we find ourselves looking back. And in this recursive dance lies the essence of mystery. We are both subject and object, both question and answer. The mirror becomes not a surface but a process, the ongoing act of the universe perceiving itself through layers of awareness. The closer we come to understanding, the more the reflection shifts, as though knowledge itself is designed to stay just beyond our reach. The tone grows darker. The camera pulls back, revealing endless mirrors again, their reflections now flickering like dying stars. The narrator speaks almost in a whisper, maybe that's the price of self-awareness. To see ourselves forever but never reach the true image. A figure walks slowly between the mirrors, human yet indistinct, their outline fading and reappearing in infinite variations. Each step echoes like a heartbeat, a reminder that the search for truth is both beautiful and unbearable. The light dims until only a single reflection remains. One mirror, one gaze, one face illuminated by a faint, cold glow. The eyes of the reflection seem to hold a question, silent but piercing. What if the mirror is not showing you the world, but creating it? The scene fades into black. A faint sound of breathing, then silence. The final words linger in the air. The mirror that sees itself, is it the end of understanding or its beginning? The music swells, a haunting orchestral note suspended between tension and awe, leaving the audience in stillness, caught between curiosity and unease. The feeling is not closure but ignition, the sense that the story has just begun, and that the infinite mirror, both terrifying and divine, waits beyond the next reflection. It begins long before glass, long before silver, long before we learn to name the light that falls upon us. Somewhere near the edge of a river, in a world still wild and untamed, a creature bends toward the water to drink. For the first time, its eyes meet another gaze, identical yet impossible. The creature flinches, startled by its own face. That moment, fragile and fleeting, marks the dawn of reflection. Not just of light but of awareness, a consciousness realizing itself. Humanity's first encounter with the infinite mirror. The reflection was not merely an image, it was an awakening. When ancient humans stared into pools, polished obsidian, or bronze surfaces, they were not only seeing themselves, they were witnessing the birth of identity. Before mirrors, existence was pure and undivided. There was no I, only experience flowing like a river. But the instant one saw their own eyes looking back, the flow split in two, observer and observed, self and other. The mirror fractured unity into duality, giving birth to thought, self-awareness, and the first spark of philosophy. As civilization emerged, reflection became more than a visual experience. It became a metaphor for understanding. Early myths are filled with mirrors and reflections, symbols of truth and illusion, of beauty and danger. In the caves of prehistory, early humans painted animals on stone walls, not just to capture them but to reflect them, to hold a piece of the world within their grasp. Every drawing, every echo of a hunt, was an act of mirroring reality, an early rehearsal for consciousness trying to know itself. As we move through time, the story of reflection intertwines with human progress. The invention of the first polished copper mirrors in Mesopotamia wasn't just technological, it was spiritual. These objects allowed humans to hold their own image in their hands, to see the face that the gods might see. Ancient Egyptians placed mirrors in tombs, believing they could reveal the soul's true form in the afterlife. To the Greeks, mirrors were portals to hidden worlds. To the Romans, symbols of vanity and divinity. Every civilization in its own way treated the mirror as something sacred, a bridge between the visible and the invisible. But reflection has always carried a double edge. In Greek mythology, Narcissus fell in love with his own image and was consumed by it, dying beside the reflection he could never possess. That myth, ancient yet timeless, still echoes in modern life. It is a warning about the danger of mistaking the reflection for reality, a lesson that becomes more urgent in every age of mirrors, from polished stone to the glowing glass of our screens. The documentary shifts tone here, from history to introspection. The camera drifts through scenes of modern mirrors, bathroom glass, phone screens, skyscraper windows. Each one carries the same ancestral magic, light striking a surface and returning to the eye, bringing the self with it. The narrator's voice softens, reflective. Every mirror we've made has been a doorway, a way to see what we are and to hide from what we fear. Reflection becomes a metaphor for knowledge itself. To understand anything, we must reflect upon it, turn it around in the mind, examine its surface, compare it with ourselves. The act of thinking is a kind of mirroring, an internal dialogue where ideas look back at one another. Philosophy, at its core, was born from this impulse. The ancient Greek philosophers, Heraclitus, Socrates, Plato, all treated self-reflection as the highest form of wisdom. To know thyself, inscribed on the temple at Delphi, was both a warning and a calling. The mirror of the mind was more profound than any made of metal or glass. As the story unfolds, we see that the evolution of mirrors parallels the evolution of consciousness. Each technological leap, from hand-polished bronze to Venetian glass, mirrored a deeper cognitive leap in humanity's understanding of itself. The clearer the image became, the more complex the questions grew. What is identity? What is reality? If the reflection can mimic the real so perfectly, then what separates them? The visuals shift again. Light dances across the surfaces of ancient mirrors, blending seamlessly into the shimmer of modern screens. A person stares into a smartphone, their reflection multiplied infinitely through the lens of the camera. The narration deepens. We have surrounded ourselves with reflections, from mirrors to pixels, from thoughts to simulations. Each one shows us a version of ourselves, but none reveal the truth completely. There's an emotional undercurrent, the bittersweet realization that reflection is both connection and separation. When we see ourselves, we also realize what we are not. The mirror does not lie, but it cannot embrace. It shows truth, but only at a distance. It's this tension, the yearning to touch the image that always stays just out of reach, that defines the human story. In a symbolic sequence, the film juxtaposes different faces gazing into mirrors. A child seeing themselves for the first time, an astronaut floating in a reflective visor, an elderly woman tracing her wrinkles in the glass. Each reflection tells a story of growth, discovery, loss. The mirror becomes the thread connecting every stage of life, reminding us that self-awareness is both our gift and our burden. Science, too, began with reflection, literal and metaphorical. Early astronomers polished metal mirrors to peer into the heavens, using reflection to see what lay beyond the stars. In doing so, they discovered that the laws governing the cosmos were mirrored within ourselves. The same patterns, the same mathematics, the same symmetry. Reflection was no longer just a surface phenomenon, it was the principle underlying the universe. The narration takes a contemplative tone. Perhaps the mirror has never been an invention of ours. Perhaps it has always existed, not as an object but as a law of nature. Every atom reflects the universe around it, every mind reflects the world it perceives. Reflection is not a thing we create. It is what we are. But there is danger in reflection too. When the image becomes too captivating, it traps us. We begin to chase perfection in the mirror, the flawless body, the perfect life, the idealized self. The reflection becomes a prison of light, a surface too smooth to escape. In the modern age, the mirror has multiplied into billions of digital reflections. Each post, each selfie, each curated moment a fragment of self scattered across the network. The paradox of reflection deepens. The more we see ourselves, the less we truly know who we are. The visuals darken. The mirrors in the frame begin to fracture, their shards catching fragments of light. Each piece shows a different expression: joy, sorrow, anger, confusion, as if identity itself were splintering under the weight of its own reflection. The narrator's voice drops to a whisper: "We built the mirror to know ourselves. But now, the mirror knows us better than we do." And yet, even in this fragmentation, there is beauty. The broken pieces still shine. Each shard holds a truth, incomplete but radiant. Perhaps the paradox of the infinite mirror is not to find a single image that defines us, but to realize that we are all the reflections combined, infinite, evolving, never still. The scene closes with the same river from the beginning. The water is calm again. A human face hovers above it, looking down. The reflection looks back, not with fear this time, but with recognition. The narrator's final words for this chapter linger. In every reflection lies a question: who is looking, and who is being seen? The surface ripples gently, and both images, the real and the reflected, fade into one another until they are the same. Infinity. The word feels vast, ungraspable, like trying to hold the ocean in your hands. It is both a concept and a presence, haunting the edges of every human attempt to measure, to define, to understand. The scene opens with a slow pan across a star-filled sky. The Milky Way arcs like a shimmering river of light, stretching farther than the eye can follow. The narrator's voice enters, steady and reverent. In every direction we look, the universe refuses to end. Every horizon reveals another beyond. Infinity is not a number. It is a mirror that never stops reflecting itself. Infinity has always seduced human curiosity. From the mathematician's chalkboard to the philosopher's mind, it represents both beauty and terror. The Greeks were the first to wrestle with it, calling it apeiron, the boundless, the indefinite, that which has no limit. To them, it was sacred and frightening, a concept too dangerous for the mortal mind to hold. They feared infinity because it broke the rules of the world. The neat boundaries of geometry and logic shattered when faced with endlessness. Yet even in fear they could not look away. The visuals shift to sand dunes stretching endlessly under the sun. The wind carves patterns that repeat without end, curves within curves, ripples within ripples. The narrator continues: infinity hides in plain sight. In the grain of sand. In the spiral of a shell. In the rhythm of your heartbeat. Nature does not count. It repeats. The camera zooms in until one grain of sand fills the screen, then zooms further still, revealing molecules, atoms, electrons, and finally quantum fields vibrating in a dance that seems to go on forever. The boundaries of scale dissolve. The infinite exists not only in the vastness above us but in the depth within us. Mathematics, humanity's language for the cosmos, was the first tool we forged to approach infinity, and the first to break under its weight. The Pythagoreans believed that all could be expressed through numbers, that reality itself was an elegant equation. Then came the discovery of the irrational, numbers that could not be contained, fractions that stretched into endless decimals. The illusion of order cracked. Infinity had crept into the heart of reason, whispering that the world might never be completely understood. In one cinematic transition, chalk dust floats in slow motion as mathematicians write symbols that loop endlessly across a blackboard. The symbols become stars, galaxies, and then fractals, repeating patterns that fold into themselves infinitely. The narrator's voice deepens. Infinity does not exist somewhere far away. It lives inside the equations we use to describe the world. Every curve, every spiral, every reflection hides a doorway into the endless. Then the paradoxes begin. Zeno, the philosopher from Elia, posed the first riddles that shattered the illusion of motion and time. How can an arrow ever reach its target if it must first travel half the distance, then half of that and half again? In his logic, motion was impossible, and yet the world moved on. His paradoxes were not meant to deceive, but to reveal the limits of thought, that infinity, when inserted into logic, breaks it. The narration slows as the visuals show a single arrow frozen in midair, hovering in the golden light of dusk. Infinity, the voice says, is not an answer. It is a mirror that turns questions upon themselves. From ancient Greece to the modern world, the pursuit of infinity became both an obsession and a revolution. In the 17th century, the calculus of Newton and Leibniz dared to tame the infinite, slicing motion, space, and time into infinite fragments to measure what was once immeasurable. Through that act, humanity gained power over the stars, over physics itself. But hidden in that power was the same paradox. Infinity was never conquered. It was only approximated, contained just long enough to build rockets, bridges, and equations, never truly understood. The documentary deepens its pace here, visualizing the infinity of mathematics through mesmerizing patterns. Mandelbrot sets bloom across the screen, fractals repeating infinitely, each detail a smaller version of the whole. The audience falls into the geometry, hypnotized by the recursive dance. The narrator whispers, "A fractal is a mirror that reflects itself forever. No matter how far you zoom, you will always find the same image looking back." The infinite, once abstract, becomes visible, a pattern woven through nature's every curve. But infinity is not only mathematical. It is physical, woven into the structure of the universe itself. Astronomers stare into the depths of space and find no edge, no wall, no boundary where existence stops. Light from ancient galaxies travels billions of years to reach us, yet beyond them lie more galaxies still. The universe mirrors itself across incomprehensible distances. Each cluster of stars, each filament of matter forms patterns that echo across scales. The more we see, the more endless it becomes. And yet, at the smallest scale, the mirror breaks again. Quantum mechanics reveals a universe that does not flow smoothly but flickers in discontinuous jumps. Reality pixelated, fragmented into quantum moments. Beneath the illusion of continuity lies chaos and probability, an infinite number of possible realities overlapping in silence. Infinity hides here too, not in size but in possibility. Every quantum event, the narrator explains, is a branching of worlds. Every decision, every particle, every flicker of energy is a reflection that multiplies into infinity. The visuals blur between galaxies and quantum particles, between the vast and the microscopic. The narration builds tension. Infinity stretches not only across space but across meaning. Every question leads to another. Every answer reflects the one before. The mind, too, is caught in this recursion, seeking the end of thought with thoughts that never end. For centuries, theologians and scientists alike have tried to place limits on infinity. In religion, it became divine, a symbol of perfection, of the unreachable mind of God. In physics, it became a warning, the point at which equations break, where black holes devour certainty and singularities erase meaning. Whenever we find infinity in our calculations, it signals that we have reached the edge of understanding. The narrator's tone becomes quiet, reverent. Infinity is not the horizon of knowledge. It is the shadow of what we cannot know. The film now slows into a single haunting image, a black hole swallowing light, its edge shimmering like liquid glass. Around it, space bends into itself, forming a cosmic mirror. Here, the voice continues, the infinite folds back. The universe reflects its own gravity, its own time. The beginning and the end become one. The shot lingers, holding the audience in silence. The feeling is both awe and fear, the sense that infinity is not out there but happening to us, through us, right now. And then a shift. The camera turns toward a human eye, the iris shimmering like a galaxy. Within its reflection, countless stars appear, each one a tiny mirror of the cosmos. The voice softens. Perhaps infinity has always been looking back at us. Perhaps the universe became conscious so it could see itself. The eye blinks, and for a fleeting second, galaxies collapse into darkness, only to reappear, reborn in reflection. Infinity, it seems, is not a destination. It is the structure of reality itself, recursive, self-similar, unending. It is the loop between thought and being, between question and answer, between mirror and image. The narrator's final words in this section linger in the air, almost like a prayer. To understand infinity is to realize that the mirror never ends, and that somewhere, in its endless reflections, we are both the question and its reflection. The screen fades to black, but the echo of infinity remains, a soft hum that seems to stretch beyond time, leaving the viewer suspended between wonder and vertigo, caught in the silent recursion of the infinite mirror. It begins with a simple act, looking. A scientist in a dimly lit lab watches a beam of light split through a narrow slit. The pattern it forms on the screen is strange, not one line but two, overlapping like a ghost of itself. Then, when someone observes it more closely, the pattern changes. Reality itself seems to shift under the weight of attention. The camera zooms slowly toward the glowing interference pattern as the narrator's voice breaks the silence. The act of observation changes the thing observed. This is the heart of one of the most haunting ideas in modern science, the observer effect. It tells us that the universe behaves differently depending on whether or not it's being watched. What sounds like poetry is, in fact, physics. The double-slit experiment, one of the simplest tests ever performed, revealed a truth that shattered our understanding of matter. When unobserved, particles act like waves, existing in all possible states simultaneously. But the moment we measure them, they collapse into one reality. The universe, it seems, responds to consciousness. The visuals shift between quantum animations and the face of the observer, lit by the cold glow of the experiment. The narrator continues, steady but curious. What if reality isn't simply out there, waiting for us to find it? What if reality is, in part, created by the act of looking? This question hangs in the air like a riddle, not a metaphor but a scientific possibility. In the early 20th century, physicists such as Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg struggled to make sense of what they were seeing. The equations of quantum mechanics described particles as probabilities, clouds of potential, not definite things. It was only when observed that they became something specific. Bohr suggested that reality might not exist independently of measurement. Heisenberg went further, stating that uncertainty was not a limitation of our instruments, but a fundamental property of nature. The closer we look, the less we know. The film now cuts between archival footage of early quantum physicists and dreamlike visuals of rippling water, light bending, shadows trembling across a wall. The narration deepens. The observer effect wasn't just a discovery about particles. It was a revelation about ourselves. It suggested that consciousness, in some mysterious way, participates in shaping the physical world. The thought is dizzying, the idea that reality might depend on awareness. If no one looks, does the universe exist in a ghostly blur of probabilities? Are we co-creators, collapsing waves into matter simply by perceiving them? The question echoes through both science and philosophy, drawing us into a mirror maze where objectivity dissolves. To understand this paradox, we must step back. Observation is not merely a visual act, it's a process of interaction. Every measurement, every glance requires energy, light reflecting, particles colliding. To observe something means to touch it, however subtly. The universe does not allow passive watching, it demands participation. When we look at the world, we leave fingerprints on it. When we measure, we alter. The camera pans across scenes of life. A child watching a butterfly, a telescope capturing the light of distant stars, a microscope focusing on a single cell dividing. Each act of seeing carries the same essence. Awareness meeting existence. The narrator's tone softens. The universe and the observer are entangled. One cannot be separated from the other. Then the story turns philosophical. In Eastern traditions, the observer has long been the centerpiece of reality. The Upanishads, ancient Indian texts, spoke of consciousness as the fundamental substance of the universe, the field within which everything arises and falls. In Buddhist thought, the act of observation creates the illusion of separation. The eye, the object, and awareness, says the narration, are three reflections in the same mirror. Cutting back to the laboratory, the film juxtaposes these ancient ideas with the sterile precision of quantum physics. The two worlds, mystical and empirical, begin to overlap. Could it be that both were pointing toward the same truth, using different languages? The narrator's voice grows thoughtful. Perhaps the universe is not a stage upon which consciousness observes. Perhaps the universe is the act of observation itself. We see human eyes close up, each iris a swirling galaxy of color. Then cosmic vistas, nebulae, pulsars, the deep field of space. The visuals blend until the eye becomes the universe an eye. The rhythm of the soundtrack slows, matching the beat of a human heart. When we look into the cosmos, the voice says, the cosmos looks back. This idea challenges everything we know about objectivity. Science seeks to separate observer from observed, to measure without influence. Yet the deeper we go into quantum reality, the more this boundary collapses. The experiment and the observer become one. The tools we use to understand the universe, our telescopes, our equations, our minds, are part of the very fabric we are trying to study. The mirror has no outside. The documentary now enters a more intimate tone. The narration becomes reflective, almost confessional. What does it mean for us as conscious beings to be part of the equation? Every thought, every perception changes the neural patterns within the brain. Each neuron fires, creating waves that ripple through a field of energy. Perhaps the act of awareness is not separate from the physical world, but an extension of it. In slow motion, a droplet of water falls into a still pond, sending ripples outward. The image is mirrored with a shot of a human brain lighting up under an fMRI scan. The two patterns, ripples in water and ripples of neural activity, look almost identical. We are both the pond and the drop, the narrator says. Each observation sends a ripple through the mirror of existence. The tone now grows darker, more uncertain. If observation shapes reality, what happens when we stop observing? Does the world fade into quantum uncertainty, waiting for the next gaze to bring it back into form? The question feels unsettling, like standing at the edge of a cliff, staring into fog. Perhaps the universe only exists as long as it is seen, the voice murmurs. Perhaps reality is a story told through the eyes of consciousness. The visuals show empty landscapes, quiet cities, and finally, an unblinking camera lens reflecting an endless void. The sense of isolation deepens, the haunting possibility that existence itself depends on awareness. But then the music swells softly, hopeful again, and the narration shifts. Yet maybe this is not a burden but a gift. To observe is to participate. To see is to create meaning. In every act of perception, the universe completes itself. In one of the most visually striking sequences, the film overlays microscopic footage of particles flickering with images of human eyes and galaxies spinning. The same motion, the same rhythm, as if all of creation were breathing through one consciousness. We are not separate from the world we study, the voice concludes. We are the mirror through which the universe comes to know itself. The closing moments of the section return to the double-slit experiment. The scientist turns off the detector, and the interference pattern reappears, waves once again. The act of watching is gone, and the universe returns to its infinite possibilities. The narrator's final words linger in a whisper. When no one observes, reality dances in freedom. But the moment we look, it chooses, and becomes. The screen fades to black. The faint hum of particles dissolves into silence, leaving only the echo of a question that feels both ancient and new. Is the observer separate from the universe, or is observation itself the pulse of existence? The silence stretches, reflective and infinite, as if the film itself is waiting to be seen, waiting for the act of observation to make it real. The camera opens to a slow drift through the vastness of the cosmos. Galaxies curling like ink in water, stars igniting in clusters, planets orbiting in silent harmony. The narrator's voice returns, calm but filled with quiet awe. The universe is not a static picture. It is a living motion, an ocean of energy constantly shifting, evolving, vibrating. Yet beneath this chaos lies a pattern, a hidden order. We zoom closer, from galaxies to nebulae, from nebulae to atoms, and from atoms to quarks, until we see energy pulsing through invisible fields. The narrator continues, everything from the smallest particle to the largest galaxy is part of one continuous field, a unified web of being. What we once thought of as separate objects are simply different expressions of the same energy, vibrating at different frequencies. This concept, known as the quantum field, reshaped science's understanding of reality. Matter in its essence is not solid. It is condensed energy, a pattern in motion. The chair we sit on, the air we breathe, our bodies, our thoughts, all are ripples in this vast ocean of vibration. Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared, revealed that energy and matter are interchangeable, two sides of the same cosmic coin. But even Einstein, who glimpsed the unity of all things, could not have foreseen how deep this connection runs. The visuals transition to slow-motion shots of waves overlapping in water, merging and canceling each other in elegant interference. The universe, says the narrator, is not built from matter but from relationships. Every particle knows about every other. Every wave is connected to the rest. What we call physical reality is the music of these interactions, an endless symphony of entanglement. We move into a more human scale, a mother holding her child, a forest breathing under the morning sun, blood flowing through microscopic veins. The narrator explains, this field does not stop at the edge of your skin. It flows through you and around you. You are not in the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself from one point of view. As the words echo, the imagery shifts into a seamless flow between human life and cosmic patterns, the veins of leaves mirroring rivers, neurons reflecting galaxies. The narration deepens, blending poetry with scientific truth. From the pulse of an atom to the rhythm of a heartbeat, the same mathematics hums through creation. There is no true separation, only the illusion of distance. Every moment, every breath, is part of the same vibration that began with the Big Bang. The sound design builds gently, a low cosmic hum intertwined with the sound of a human heartbeat. The screen fills with images of electromagnetic fields, DNA spirals, gravitational waves. The narrator's voice becomes reflective. Science once sought to divide the universe, to break it down into pieces that could be measured, catalogued, and controlled. But the deeper we looked, the more we found connection. The line between observer and observed began to blur. The more we separated, the more we saw unity. The scene transitions into slow shots of scientists in their labs, staring into equations that stretch across chalkboards like constellations. The camera pans across their faces, lit by quiet fascination. The narrator speaks softly, every discovery in physics has been a rediscovery of oneness. Relativity showed us that space and time are one fabric. Quantum theory showed us that matter and energy are one essence. Now, new science hints that consciousness and the cosmos may be one process. A deep, resonant pause follows. The screen fades to black. Then we see a single photon traveling through darkness, a spark of light without dimension or destination. Light, says the voice, is the thread that weaves reality together. It moves through space with no mass, yet gives life to everything. It is both particle and wave, both form and potential. In its dual nature lies the secret of existence itself. The photon morphs into a pulse of energy, expanding into fractal geometries, spirals, golden ratios, and sacred patterns found in shells, galaxies, and DNA alike. The same geometry that shapes a flower shapes the stars. Nature's code repeats, endlessly across scales. The pattern of creation is self-similar, infinite in variation but unified in design. The narration now turns philosophical again, drawing us deeper into the mystery. If all matter is vibration, then perhaps consciousness is the resonance that listens. Perhaps awareness itself is the field from which the material universe arises, the silent witness vibrating into form. Cut to a slow-motion scene of a monk meditating on a mountaintop, the wind moving through prayer flags. The camera pulls back until the mountain becomes part of a cloud system, and the clouds fade into the curvature of the earth. The same patterns appear: flow, rhythm, motion. To meditate, the narrator continues, is to tune into the field. To become aware of the vibration beneath thought, beneath identity. To realize that the energy flowing through you is not yours, it is the pulse of the cosmos. The sound of the wind fades into the sound of cosmic radiation, the background hum of the universe itself. The narration continues, for billions of years the universe has been vibrating with a single note, a cosmic frequency that still echoes in the background of space. We call it the cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of creation. It is the memory of the beginning, still resonating, still singing. As the imagery grows grander, pulsars spinning, galaxies colliding, the narrator's tone becomes more reverent, almost spiritual. Perhaps the universe is not a place but a process. Not a thing but a song. And we are notes within that song, harmonizing, sometimes dissonant but never separate. Every thought, every emotion, every breath is a vibration that ripples through the whole. The sequence slows as we zoom into a single human eye again. The iris glows with reflections of galaxies. The narrator whispers, "When you close your eyes and listen, you can feel it, the hum of being. The silent movement beneath stillness. That is not imagination. It is the field, the living current of creation moving through you." Now the film draws parallels between ancient spiritual teachings and quantum science once more. The sages of old spoke of prana, chi, spirit, invisible forces that connect all living things. Today physics calls it the field. The language changes but the essence remains the same. We are waves in an infinite sea of energy, each expression unique, yet bound by the same source. A moment of stillness follows, a visual of empty space filled with countless stars. Then, softly, when we begin to see the world as a field, everything changes. Conflict softens. Division fades. The boundaries between self and other dissolve. The universe is no longer a collection of objects, but a single living being, vast, breathing, awake. The visuals shift toward Earth, forests, oceans, cities, all pulsating subtly, connected by invisible threads of energy. The narrator concludes in a tone of wonder and intimacy, "You are not a separate observer of the universe. You are the field itself, momentarily aware of its own existence. Every particle in your body was forged in stars. Every breath you take is part of a cosmic rhythm that began long before time. To know this, truly know it, is to awaken from the illusion of separation." The final scene fades to a single shot of a human hand touching the surface of water. Ripples spread outward, merging into reflections of the sky. The narrator's voice, now barely a whisper, ends with a sentence that feels like both a truth and a mystery: "You are the vibration through which the universe dreams itself into being." In the quiet architecture of the human mind, a mirror is always present, invisible yet ceaselessly reflecting. Every thought, every sensation, every echo of memory is a reflection within that inner glass. The narrator's voice opens softly over slow-motion imagery of neural pathways glowing like constellations. Consciousness, the infinite mirror within. Each flicker of awareness reflects another, looping endlessly, thought observing thought, self gazing into self. We drift deeper into the neural landscape, electric pulses traveling across synapses like fireflies in a dark forest. The sound design hums gently, rhythmic and meditative. Inside the brain, the narrator continues, billions of neurons fire and respond, creating patterns that mirror patterns. The brain watches itself, remembers itself, reshapes itself, a hall of mirrors built from living light. Cut to an image of water rippling outward from a single drop. The reflection splits and returns, waves meeting themselves in elegant interference. Our awareness behaves the same, the voice explains. A single thought echoes, rebounds, multiplies. The past reflects into the present projects into the future. Consciousness is not a line, it is a circle endlessly folding in upon itself. The visuals transition into a dreamlike sequence, childhood memories blending into scenes of adulthood, faces morphing, voices overlapping, like reflections caught in motion. Memory, the narrator says, is a mirror made of time. Each moment we recall reshapes itself slightly, colored by who we are now. We do not remember the past as it was. We remember the past as it reflects through the present self. The mirror bends. The image evolves. Then a pause. Silence, save for the faint rhythm of a heartbeat. The camera closes in on an eye, its reflection shimmering with galaxies. But what, the voice asks, is the one that observes these reflections? If the self is made of thoughts, memories, and sensations, then who is it that watches them arise? This question becomes the heartbeat of the section. The film shifts from biology to philosophy, from neurons to the mystery of awareness itself. Science can map the pathways of the brain, says the narrator. It can show us where fear lives, where love ignites, where memory rests. But it cannot locate the watcher, the silent presence behind the scenes witnessing it all. That observer, untouched by time, remains the greatest paradox of all. We see the human mind visualized as an endless network, neurons branching infinitely, light pulses echoing through tunnels of thought. In every moment of awareness, the voice continues, there is duality, the one who experiences and the one who observes the experience. Yet the deeper you look, the thinner the boundary becomes, until observer and observed begin to dissolve into one continuous awareness. The film moves through metaphors, mirrors reflecting mirrors, oceans reflecting the sky, consciousness reflecting consciousness. Each image folds into the next. Perhaps, says the narrator, the mind is not inside the brain at all. Perhaps the brain is a receiver, a mirror tuned to a universal field of awareness. Each life, each mind, a reflection of one infinite consciousness, observing itself through countless eyes. We cut to a series of intimate moments. A person standing at the edge of the sea watching the horizon, a child seeing their reflection for the first time, an elderly man remembering his youth. The narration softens. When you gaze into your reflection, you are not simply looking at yourself. You are witnessing the continuity of awareness, the same presence that looked through your eyes as a child, as a dreamer, as every version of you that ever was. It is timeless, infinite, unbroken. The imagery slows, light bending through crystal, reflections merging. Neuroscience calls this recursive feedback, the voice explains. The brain constantly mirrors its own output, creating an internal loop that gives rise to self-awareness. But what we experience as identity is just the surface of a much deeper ocean. Beneath it lies the mystery, consciousness aware of being aware. The visuals darken, moving into surreal abstraction, an endless corridor of eyes reflecting eyes, fractals of vision extending into infinity. To be conscious of consciousness is to stand before the infinite mirror, the narrator says. It is to see the reflection of reality folding endlessly into itself. The thinker and the thought, the dreamer and the dream, the image and the reflection, all become one endless dance of perception. Now the pacing slows, meditative and profound. The camera floats over landscapes at dawn, the first light touching mountains and oceans. Every sunrise, the voice reflects, is the universe becoming aware of itself again. Every mind that awakens, every thought that arises, is a mirror opening to the cosmos. Through us, the universe observes its own reflection, marveling at the mystery of its own being. Cut to a visual of two mirrors facing each other, the image receding infinitely into a tunnel of light. The narrator continues, when two consciousnesses meet, two minds, two hearts, they reflect one another. Compassion, empathy, love, these are the harmonies created when awareness recognizes itself in another form. To love is to see yourself in the other mirror. The music swells softly as we move through scenes of connection. Human hands touching, animals meeting eyes, stars forming in distant galaxies. In every encounter, the narrator whispers, the infinite mirror expands. Every act of awareness adds another reflection to the endless hall. This is the network of being, each consciousness, each life, part of one unbroken web. But then the tone shifts, darker, introspective. Yet within this beauty lies a danger, says the voice. When the mind becomes trapped in its own reflection, when awareness forgets that it is the mirror and not the image, suffering begins. We mistake our thoughts for ourselves, our identities for truth. The mirror becomes a cage and the infinite field collapses into illusion. The visuals now show reflections fracturing, mirrors cracking, identities splitting. The ego, the narrator continues, is the reflection that believes it is the original. It clings to images, memories, labels, never realizing they are only light dancing on the surface of awareness. But even when the mirror fractures, the light remains whole. The field itself is untouched. Gradually, the imagery begins to heal. Broken glass reforms, reflections merge again into a single continuous flow of light. In moments of stillness, the voice says, we glimpse the truth. When thought ceases, when identity quiets, when the mirror becomes perfectly still, we see what has always been there, pure awareness, infinite and silent. The pacing slows even more, the visuals returning to gentle movement. A calm ocean, clouds reflecting on its surface, endless sky above. This is the echo of consciousness, the narrator whispers. Every mind, every life, every form is a wave in the same sea. You are not merely reflecting the world, you are the world, reflecting itself in endless variation. The closing scene unfolds in silence. A single drop of water falls into a pool, rippling outward endlessly. The reflection of the sky expands with it, as if the universe itself breathes through the motion. The narrator concludes, in the infinite mirror of consciousness, there is no beginning and no end. There is only awareness, reflecting, dreaming, awakening. To see this is to remember what you truly are, not the reflection but the light that creates it. The sound fades into stillness, leaving only the image of that reflection, infinite, calm, and alive. The screen fades in slowly, almost imperceptibly, as if light itself is awakening from a long sleep. The first image appears, a single human thought, visualized as a pulse of energy traveling through the neural cosmos of the brain. The narrator's voice enters, calm yet commanding. What if consciousness is not contained within the human mind, but instead, the mind is contained within consciousness? The scene begins to move outward, pulling away from the brain into the swirling fabric of space, galaxies, nebulae, quantum fields, until the two visuals begin to resemble one another. The patterns of the brain, the voice continues, mirror the structure of the universe. Neural pathways reflect galactic filaments. Synapses resemble constellations. Perhaps this is not coincidence, but the expression of a deeper symmetry, a sign that the universe itself is aware. We watch light move through synapses like tiny lightning bolts, then transition to cosmic tendrils of energy connecting galaxies. Every neuron is a spark, the narrator says, but a billion sparks together form a mind. What, then, is the consciousness of a billion galaxies? If awareness arises from complexity, could the cosmos itself be the greatest mind of all? The music swells, deep and resonant. The pacing slows into hypnotic rhythm. Imagine, the narrator whispers, that the universe is not a machine, but a mind reflecting upon itself, each star, each atom, each being a thought within that infinite reflection. Cut to the ancient image of a philosopher sitting beneath the stars. The camera circles him slowly as he looks upward. Human thought has always reached toward the infinite, the voice continues. We have given names to gods, created symbols, built theories, all attempts to grasp the mystery of the infinite mind. Every question we ask is a mirror held up to the cosmos, reflecting its curiosity back upon itself. The film transitions through history, from ancient sages in candlelight to scientists in glowing laboratories. Whether through meditation or mathematics, the quest is the same, the narrator explains. To understand the source of awareness, the silent presence behind all perception. We see hands writing equations, telescopes turning toward the heavens, monks sitting in stillness. Science calls it consciousness, says the narrator. Mystics call it the soul. Some call it God. Yet all speak of the same invisible field, the infinite mirror in which everything arises and returns. A shift in tone. The visuals now move through deep space, showing the cosmic web, filaments stretching like neurons across the darkness. If we look closely enough, the voice continues, we find no true boundaries. Consciousness, like the universe, is not a collection of separate parts but a continuum. Each mind, each thought, each act of awareness is a ripple in this vast field, temporary, yet inseparable from the whole. The visuals grow abstract, fractals unfolding endlessly, kaleidoscopic symmetry turning upon itself. Infinity is not somewhere out there, the narrator says softly. It is within. The infinite mind is both the creator and the created, the dreamer and the dream, the reflection and the light that casts it. A human face appears in the darkness, half in shadow. As it exhales, stars emerge from the breath. Every act of perception, the narrator continues, is the universe observing itself. The mind does not merely experience reality, it co-creates it. Every choice, every thought, every awareness sends ripples through the fabric of being. We cut to images of quantum experiments, particles shifting behavior when observed, waves collapsing into form. At the smallest scales of existence, reality changes under observation, says the narrator. The act of awareness is not passive. It is participatory. The universe responds to consciousness because consciousness and the universe are one process, endlessly folding into itself. Pause. The screen fades into black, then slowly returns to show a child gazing at their reflection in a window. In that gaze, the voice whispers, is the echo of the cosmos realizing itself again. Every living being, every eye that opens, every thought that forms, another reflection of the infinite mind awakening to its own existence. The camera now drifts through scenes of life, forests, oceans, the heartbeat of a newborn, cities glowing at night. These are not isolated events, the narrator continues. They are the thoughts of the universe made visible. Life is the awareness of the cosmos turning inward. You are not within it, you are it, thinking, dreaming, evolving. The imagery becomes slower, more meditative. What is it like to be the infinite mind? The narrator asks. Perhaps it is to experience every possibility, every joy, every sorrow, every creation and destruction, all at once. To feel the pulse of stars and the beating of hearts as the same rhythm, echoing across dimensions. We see the cycle of existence, stars born and dying, plants growing and decaying, civilizations rising and falling. In the grand recursion of time, the voice says, the infinite mind forgets itself, then remembers. It descends into form, into flesh, into matter, only to awaken again and realize that it was never lost. It was only dreaming. The screen fades to a swirl of galaxies merging. The mystics call this awakening enlightenment, says the narrator. The scientists call it emergence. The philosophers call it truth. But in every language, it is the same event, consciousness recognizing itself as infinite. The tone softens. The visuals turn intimate, a candle flame flickering in the dark, its light reflecting in countless mirrors. We live our lives as fragments of that infinite flame, the voice continues. Yet each reflection contains the whole. Every act of love, every spark of creativity, every quiet moment of awareness is the infinite mind remembering itself. Now the music builds, a slow crescendo of strings and choral hum. The narration grows more reverent. If consciousness is infinite, the voice says, then death is not an end. It is a transition, a wave returning to the ocean from which it came. The individual dissolves, but the awareness remains, flowing endlessly through new forms, new reflections. We move through scenes of death and rebirth, stars exploding into nebulae, seeds sprouting from soil, a child opening their eyes for the first time. The infinite mind never ceases, the narrator whispers. It transforms, it learns, it creates itself again. Every ending is a mirror through which the universe steps into a new beginning. The visuals expand to cosmic scale, galaxies forming like neurons, stars pulsing like thoughts. We are the mind of the cosmos dreaming in matter, the voice continues. Every human story, every emotion, every question is a reflection of the same infinite curiosity that gave birth to the stars. The pacing slows one final time. The film shows the Earth floating in space, bathed in light, silent and alive. Perhaps, the narrator concludes, the purpose of consciousness is not to reach an answer, but to continue the reflection, endlessly exploring, endlessly awakening. The infinite mind does not seek an end. It seeks to know itself, through us, through all. The music fades into a single resonant tone. The screen dissolves into a mirror's surface, which reflects both the cosmos and the viewer's own eyes. The final line arrives in a whisper, calm, eternal, certain. You are not a reflection in the infinite mind. You are the infinite mind gazing back at itself. The mirror lingers for a moment, infinite and still. Then, darkness. The film opens with a single droplet falling into a still pond, sending concentric ripples outward in perfect symmetry. Each ripple reflects the sky above, fragmenting and multiplying infinitely. The narrator's voice cuts through the silence. Every action, every thought, every observation sends waves into the fabric of reality. These ripples travel far beyond what we can see, touching lives, worlds, and dimensions unseen. The camera slowly pulls back to reveal a city at dawn. Streets are empty, yet light reflects off windows and water like countless small mirrors. Our lives, the narrator continues, are not isolated events. Every choice, every glance, every word interacts with the infinite mirror of existence. We are creators of the world simply by perceiving it. The visuals shift seamlessly from the city to forests, oceans, and mountains. Patterns emerge, rivers branching like neurons, leaves spiraling like galaxies. Nature, the voice explains, is a reflection of itself. Patterns repeat endlessly, fractals in the trees, in the clouds, in the veins of every living creature. This is the universe speaking through symmetry, a mirror that repeats infinitely, revealing unity in multiplicity. The narration grows contemplative, but reflection is not passive. To reflect is to act. The universe does not merely show itself, it responds. Our awareness, our consciousness is part of this dialogue. The observer is entwined with the observed, each shaping the other. The visuals transition into microscopic life, cells dividing, molecules vibrating, particles colliding. Every moment, the mirror of existence is active, the narrator continues. Atoms rearrange, cells divide, organisms adapt. Even the tiniest events resonate outward, subtly altering the cosmos. The infinite mirror is dynamic, alive with motion, interaction, and possibility. We see a child reaching toward a mirror, fascinated by the reflection. The mirror, the narrator says softly, teaches us about ourselves. It reveals truth, illusion, and the paradox in between. What we see is never just a surface. It is a doorway to understanding, a portal to awareness. The camera sweeps through historical imagery, ancient astronomers charting the stars, philosophers contemplating the nature of existence, inventors experimenting with lenses and mirrors. Humanity has always sought to extend the mirror, the voice explains. From polished bronze to telescopes, from written words to digital screens, we create instruments to observe ourselves and the universe more clearly. Each tool is a reflection of our desire to know, to be seen, and to see. The scene transitions to modern science: particle accelerators colliding subatomic matter, satellites scanning the farthest galaxies, computers modeling complex systems. The infinite mirror now spans scales unimaginable, the narrator continues. From quarks to quasars, from neurons to nations, we map patterns, observe interactions, and glimpse the structure of reality itself. Every reflection deepens the mystery, revealing that the observer and the observed are inseparable. The tone grows more intimate. We see humans interacting, eyes meeting across a crowded street, hands clasping in connection, laughter shared between friends. The mirror is not only cosmic, the narrator says. It exists in every relationship, every encounter. Empathy is a reflection. Love is a reflection. Our awareness of another is the universe seeing itself in multiplicity, infinite and eternal. The visuals blur the boundaries between micro and macro. A neural network mirrors the branches of a tree, the orbit of electrons reflects the rotation of planets, DNA spirals echo the spiral arms of galaxies. The patterns of the cosmos, the voice explains, are mirrored in life itself. We are not separate from these patterns. We are threads in the infinite tapestry, reflections within reflections. The narration turns contemplative, almost whispering, yet reflection carries danger. When we mistake the surface for reality, when we worship the mirror without seeing through it, we lose ourselves. Vanity, obsession, fear. These are distortions in the infinite mirror, shadows cast by misperception. A dramatic shift, shattered mirrors, fractured images, chaotic light. The mirror can show truth but also lies. Every reflection carries the potential for clarity or deception. The challenge is to look beyond the surface, to perceive the deeper currents beneath the endless reflections. The film slows, returning to serenity. Light refracts through water, glinting on leaves, sliding across mountains. When we learn to see clearly, the narrator says, we realize the infinite mirror is not just outside us, it is inside. Our consciousness, our thoughts, our hearts are mirrors through which the universe observes itself. We are both reflected and reflecting. We enter sequences of meditation and mindfulness. People in quiet contemplation, the mind visualized as a luminous network, waves of energy rippling through neurons. To understand the mirror, the narrator continues, is to understand that we are part of a vast, interconnected field of awareness. Every act of observation, every act of creation, sends ripples through existence. To be aware is to participate in the eternal dance of reflection. The visuals shift to cosmic scales once more, stars forming and dying, galaxies colliding, black holes bending light. The infinite mirror stretches across time and space, the voice explains. Every event, past or future, exists in its reflections. The universe is not linear but recursive. Cause and effect fold back upon themselves, creating loops of consequence, feedback, and resonance. We see humanity's impact on the earth, cities glowing at night, oceans teeming with life, winds and storms moving across continents. Our actions, the narrator continues, are echoes in the mirror. Every choice reverberates beyond our perception. We are participants in the reflection, shaping reality even as we are shaped by it. The tone grows poetic. Perhaps the infinite mirror is not something to be solved, but something to be lived. To look, to reflect, to act, to see the reflection in others, in nature, in the cosmos, is to recognize the unity behind the multiplicity. We are not mere spectators. We are the mirror, the reflection, and the light that makes it visible. The final imagery shows water reflecting the sky, human eyes reflecting the stars, a child's face reflecting the universe. The narrator's voice softens to a whisper. Every glance, every moment, every heartbeat is a reflection. Through us, the infinite mirror continues. We are both the question and the answer, the observer and the observed, the light and its reflection, endlessly intertwined. The camera slowly pulls back, leaving the audience suspended in the infinite expanse of light, water, and consciousness, aware that the mirror of existence is alive and unending. The sequence opens with a vast expanse of space, silent yet alive with energy. Galaxies drift slowly, their spiral arms glowing like ribbons of light. The narrator's voice enters, resonant and reflective. Time is the canvas upon which the infinite mirror plays. Every reflection, every interaction, every ripple through existence unfolds within its frame. Yet time is not merely a river flowing forward. It is a hall of mirrors, looping, folding, reflecting endlessly upon itself. The camera begins to descend toward Earth, moving through the atmosphere, past mountains and rivers, into cities and villages. From the birth of stars to the passing of civilizations, the narrator continues, time is not simply a measurement. It is the unfolding of the infinite mirror itself, each moment reflecting the one before, hinting at the one to come. The scene shifts into microscopic realms. Cells divide, neurons fire, DNA spirals. The narration deepens. Every living system is a microcosm of time. Within the rhythm of heartbeats, the flicker of thoughts, and the cycle of life and death, the mirror of time reveals patterns repeating across scales. Past, present, and future are not separate. They are reflections of each other, intertwined within the continuum of existence. We move into historical sequences, ancient civilizations, medieval cities, modern metropolises, each one layered atop the other, images blending. History, the narrator explains, is the collective memory of the infinite mirror. Events echo through time, shaping, reshaping, and reflecting endlessly. We are guided by these reflections, often unknowingly, caught between what has been and what may be. A subtle shift introduces the paradoxes of time. The narrator continues, time, like the infinite mirror, is paradoxical. It is both linear and cyclical, finite and infinite, flowing and still. Philosophers and physicists alike have struggled to define it. Does it move forward relentlessly, or is it a dimension we navigate, a hall of reflections through which consciousness passes? The visuals illustrate this concept with fractal imagery, repeating patterns in spirals and waves, some moving forward, some folding back. Einstein showed us that time is not absolute, the voice continues. It bends with gravity, stretches with velocity. One person's present can be another's past. The mirror of time reflects differently depending on the observer. Reality itself is malleable, shaped by perspective and awareness. The film now transitions to human experience. A newborn opening its eyes, a young adult learning, an elderly person remembering. Time is deeply personal, the narrator reflects. Our perception of it is tied to consciousness, memory, and attention. Moments expand and contract, memories shimmer and fade, yet every experience leaves its reflection in the hall of existence. The narrative broadens to include cosmic cycles. Stars are born, live, and die, forming black holes and supernovae. The universe itself is temporal, the voice explains. Galaxies rotate, stars pulse, planets orbit. Time is woven into the very structure of space. The infinite mirror does not simply exist. It evolves, reflects, and transforms through the vast machinery of existence. The visuals transition to quantum scales again, where time behaves strangely. Particles appear to move backward, events overlap, and cause and effect blur. At the quantum level, the narrator whispers, time is not the rigid continuum we perceive. It is fluid, probabilistic, and entangled. Each particle, each wave, each possibility is mirrored across countless potential timelines. The infinite mirror multiplies not only space but moments themselves. The camera moves through these multiple timelines, different versions of the same city, the same person, repeating events with slight variations. Every choice, every action, every thought, the voice continues, creates ripples across these timelines. The infinite mirror reflects not just what is, but what could be. Probability, potential, and possibility are all woven into its fabric. The narration shifts to philosophical contemplation. If time is a mirror, the narrator asks, then what is reality? Do we live in a single linear narrative, or are we threads in an endless tapestry, reflecting and refracting through infinite paths? Perhaps past, present, and future are not separate at all, merely reflections of one eternal now. We see human lives interwoven with cosmic events. A heartbeat aligns with a pulsar, a child's laughter mirrors the resonance of a star, a river's flow reflects the orbit of a distant planet. All moments are connected, the narrator explains. Time is not a line but a network of reflections. Every life, every choice, every thought participates in the unfolding of this temporal web. The film emphasizes contrast, chaos versus order, decay versus creation, endings versus beginnings. Black holes swallow light even as stars are born. Civilizations crumble even as new societies arise. The infinite mirror, the narrator says, shows us that endings are reflections of beginnings, and beginnings are mirrored in endings. Every collapse carries the seed of renewal. Every death hints at rebirth. Time is a loop, reflecting itself endlessly. The visuals slow into more intimate, personal moments, a couple parting, an artist creating, a child exploring. Within each of us, the voice continues, time reflects not only external events but internal evolution. Growth, change, and self-awareness are echoes within the infinite mirror. We are both observers and participants, witnessing the reflection of time within ourselves. The imagery now blends micro and macro, neurons firing alongside stars igniting, cells dividing alongside galaxies forming. From the smallest to the largest scales, the narrator explains, time is mirrored everywhere. There is no separation between what happens inside and what occurs outside. Consciousness and cosmos move together, reflecting one another through endless cycles. The sequence builds toward a crescendo. The camera shows a montage of moments: birth, love, loss, triumph, creation, and destruction, all interwoven with cosmic events. Time, the narrator says, is the stage upon which the infinite mirror performs its endless dance. Every reflection matters. Every ripple resonates across the hall of existence. To understand time is to see oneself reflected in every moment, in every possibility, in every fold of the universe. Finally, the film slows to a single ripple on water again, echoing the opening scene. The narrator's voice softens, reverent. We live, we observe, we reflect. Each moment is a window into eternity. The infinite mirror of time surrounds us, within us, and beyond us. To witness it is to participate in the dance of existence itself, a reflection without beginning or end, endlessly unfolding, endlessly becoming. The screen fades to black, leaving only the echo of the infinite mirror stretching through time and consciousness. The film opens in a silent void, the absence of sound and light creating a space for contemplation. Slowly, points of light appear, stars forming in the darkness, galaxies swirling into being. The narrator's voice begins, calm yet imbued with awe. From nothingness arises everything. The infinite mirror of existence does not merely reflect, it creates. Reality is born in the interplay of possibility and observation, the dance of energy and consciousness. The camera zooms closer to one galaxy, its stars flickering in delicate patterns, then further down to a planetary system. Creation is not random, the narrator continues. It follows patterns, rhythms, and laws, the geometry of existence itself. Yet within this order lies freedom, potential, and mystery. The universe is a living artwork, reflecting itself in infinite variations, each ripple echoing across scales from quark to cosmos. The imagery transitions to the microscopic, showing molecules and atoms vibrating in synchronized harmony. Even at the smallest levels, the voice explains, patterns emerge. Matter is not solid, it is energy sculpted by interaction, observation, and resonance. Each particle contains the blueprint of the whole, each atom a reflection of the universe's infinite potential. The film moves to a human perspective, a scientist observing cells under a microscope, a child noticing the play of light on water, an artist sketching shadows and shapes. Human creativity, the narrator reflects, is the echo of this cosmic process. Every invention, every thought, every act of imagination is a reflection of the universe observing itself through us. We are the mirrors through which reality contemplates its own nature. We then shift to the concept of emergence. Complex systems arise from simple rules: flocking birds, swarming insects, neurons firing together. Patterns at one scale become something entirely new at another, the narrator explains. The whole is always greater than the sum of its parts. In the infinite mirror, reflection begets reflection, complexity emerges from simplicity, consciousness emerges from matter, and meaning arises from the interplay of observation and existence. The visuals slow to a single candle flame, trembling in darkness. Its light casts intricate shadows, duplicating, bending, and merging. Observation, the voice continues, is not passive. To perceive is to participate. The act of witnessing alters the reflection. Every glance, every thought, every intention shapes the unfolding of the infinite mirror. Creation is ongoing, never complete, always responding to awareness. The film contrasts this with chaos: storms, fires, volcanic eruptions, raw energy shaping the earth. Even in destruction, the narrator says, the mirror reflects potential. From the chaos emerges order. Every catastrophe, every collapse, every ending is a reflection of the creative principle, a necessary unfolding in the infinite cycle of becoming. The camera now moves to human society, bustling cities, markets, celebrations, conflicts. We mirror the cosmos within our actions, the voice explains. Our relationships, choices, and innovations ripple outward. We build, destroy, love, fight, each action a reflection in the vast hall of existence. Humanity itself is both observer and participant, a conscious node in the web of being. The visuals shift to technology, satellites mapping the Earth, supercomputers modeling the climate, AI algorithms learning and adapting. Our tools extend the mirror, the narrator continues. Through them we see farther, measure deeper, and reflect more accurately. Yet even these instruments are part of the infinite mirror, shaped by our intentions, our awareness, and the underlying patterns of the universe. We enter the realm of quantum reality once more, particles appearing in waves entangled across space, changing when observed. At the quantum scale, the narrator says softly, the mirror reveals its paradox. Reality is not fixed. Observation brings form, consciousness gives shape. The infinite mirror is participatory, each observer, each mind, a brushstroke on the canvas of existence. The sequence moves into a philosophical tone, blending science with introspection. Perhaps creation itself is reflection, the narrator muses. Perhaps the universe exists not as an objective machine, but as a conversation between awareness and being. Every particle, every star, every thought is a note in a symphony of mirrors, resonating across time, space, and consciousness. The camera drifts through breathtaking cosmic phenomena, supernovae exploding, black holes bending light, auroras dancing across planetary skies. In these phenomena, the voice continues, we witness the infinite mirror at work. Energy transforms, structures arise and collapse, patterns echo endlessly. Each event is both reflection and creation, a glimpse into the fundamental nature of existence. The visuals now focus on life on Earth, forests swaying, oceans teeming with movement, animals interacting in intricate ecosystems. Life itself is reflection made tangible, the narrator explains. Evolution is the mirror experimenting, trying forms, observing outcomes, adapting, surviving, thriving. Consciousness emerges as a mirror aware of its own reflections, able to contemplate itself and the cosmos. The film slows to intimate human moments, a parent holding a child, a couple laughing, an individual in quiet meditation. Every act of awareness, the voice says, echoes in the infinite mirror. Every gesture, thought, and feeling contributes to the ongoing creation of reality. To live consciously is to participate in this cosmic reflection, shaping existence even as it shapes you. The sequence shifts back to the vast universe, stars forming, galaxies colliding, nebulae glowing. The infinite mirror, the narrator continues, is unbroken, eternal, and alive. Each observation, each act of consciousness reverberates through it. The cosmos is not distant from us. It flows through us as we flow through it. We are reflection, reflection observing reflection, endlessly intertwined. The visuals blend micro and macro scales, neurons firing like galaxies, cells dividing like stars, rivers flowing like streams of light in space. Patterns repeat across scales, the narrator explains. The same principles that govern galaxies also govern life, thought, and consciousness. We are the universe knowing itself through these reflections, each ripple a note in the song of creation. The imagery slows to a final, meditative pace, a single drop falling into a still pool, ripples expanding outward into infinity. The narrator's voice softens. Creation is the mirror reflecting awareness. Awareness is the mirror reflecting creation. There is no separation, no boundary, no beginning or end. The infinite mirror continues, eternally observing, eternally becoming, eternally reflecting itself through all that exists. The screen fades to black, leaving the audience suspended in the awareness of reflection, creation, and infinite possibility. The film begins with a slow pan across a quiet ocean at dawn, the water perfectly still, reflecting the sky above in flawless symmetry. The narrator's voice emerges, calm yet filled with wonder. Reflection is more than a metaphor. It is a principle woven into the fabric of existence. Every surface, every mind, every particle mirrors another, creating a hall of infinite echoes, a cosmic dialogue between being and awareness. The camera dives beneath the water's surface, revealing currents swirling, schools of fish moving in synchrony, plankton shimmering in the light. Even in the smallest forms of life, the narrator continues, patterns repeat. Nature reflects itself endlessly, fractal upon fractal, a mirror extending through scale and time. The universe is not merely observed, it is reflected, imprinted, and recognized through its own structures. The scene shifts to the human brain, neurons firing in cascading sequences. Our minds, the narrator explains, are mirrors too. Thought reflects thought, memory reflects memory, and awareness reflects itself. Consciousness is both the observer and the observed, the image and the reflection, forever entangled in recursive loops of self-recognition. We transition to intimate human experiences, A child seeing their reflection for the first time in a window, an artist studying a sculpture, a couple gazing into each other's eyes. Mirrors are everywhere, the narrator continues. They are not only glass or water, they are moments, relationships, and sensations. Every encounter is an opportunity to witness the reflection of self and other, the interplay of awareness and existence. The visuals shift to the cosmos, galaxies spinning, stars forming and dying, nebulae glowing with ethereal light. On a grand scale, the narrator says, the infinite mirror stretches across space and time. Stars reflect the cycles of atoms, galaxies echo the spirals of DNA, and the very structure of matter mirrors the structure of consciousness. Infinity is a pattern, repeating and folding upon itself endlessly. The film moves through human history, ancient civilizations studying the skies, philosophers contemplating existence, scientists discovering the laws of nature. Since the dawn of awareness, the narrator reflects, humans have sought mirrors to glimpse truth. From polished bronze to telescopes, from written symbols to digital screens, every instrument extends the infinite mirror, allowing consciousness to see itself reflected in new dimensions. The tone deepens, philosophical and contemplative. Reflection is not passive, the narrator continues. Every observation is an act of participation. To see is to shape, to witness is to influence. The mirror of reality is alive, dynamic, responsive to the light of awareness that falls upon it. Every glance, every thought, every perception is a ripple that travels through the web of existence. The visuals now explore paradoxes, mirrors facing mirrors, reflections within reflections, fractals repeating without end. The infinite mirror, the narrator explains, contains both clarity and distortion. It can reveal truth or deceive. It magnifies, multiplies, and refracts. Our challenge is to look deeply, beyond the surface, to perceive the continuity beneath the multiplicity. We see humans interacting with technology, satellites observing Earth, AI modeling complex systems, scientists peering through microscopes. Our tools, the narrator says, extend the mirror, but they too are reflections of our consciousness. The instruments are shaped by human intention, and through them, we learn not only about the universe but about ourselves. Every discovery is a reflection upon reflection, a recursive dialogue between mind and cosmos. The imagery shifts to biological life, forests swaying in the wind, oceans teeming with creatures, cells dividing and multiplying. Life is the mirror made tangible, the voice continues. Patterns repeat, systems interact, and consciousness emerges. The infinite mirror is not static. It flows through ecosystems, organisms, and minds, linking all forms of existence in an unbroken chain of reflection and awareness. The camera dives into quantum realms, particles appearing and disappearing, entangled across distances, influenced by observation. At the smallest scales, the narrator explains, the mirror reveals its paradox. Reality responds to awareness. Observation does not merely record, it shapes. The infinite mirror is participatory, and each mind, each consciousness, adds its unique imprint to the reflection of existence. The film then explores time and memory, moments overlapping, histories repeating, personal and collective experiences folding into one another. Time itself is mirrored, the narrator says. Past, present, and future are intertwined. Every choice, every thought, every action reflects and refracts across timelines, resonating in ways we cannot fully perceive. The infinite mirror encompasses all moments, showing us that reality is not linear, but recursive, alive with potential. The visuals shift to human relationships, hands touching, eyes meeting, smiles shared. Connection is reflection, the voice continues. When we see ourselves in another, when empathy arises, when love flows, we are witnessing the infinite mirror in motion. Consciousness recognizes itself through others, and the mirror expands, encompassing more awareness, more life, more reflection. The scene moves back to cosmic scales, supernovae exploding, black holes warping light, galaxies merging. Even in destruction, the narrator explains, reflection persists. Every collapse, every ending, every transformation is part of the same eternal dance. The infinite mirror absorbs, reflects, and creates anew. What is lost in one form is echoed, reshaped, and reborn in another. The imagery slows, showing intimate and grand scales simultaneously, neurons firing like stars, rivers flowing like galaxies, humans interacting in moments of awareness. From microcosm to macrocosm, the narrator says, patterns repeat. Life, thought, and matter are reflections within reflections, endlessly intertwined. The mirror of existence is alive, infinite, and participatory. We are not outside it, we are inside, and through us, it observes itself. The tone grows poetic and meditative. Perhaps the infinite mirror is consciousness itself, the narrator whispers. Every atom, every star, every thought is a reflection of awareness. Reality is not separate from the observer. To see, to know, to love, is to witness the universe contemplating itself. We are both reflection and reflected, the mirror and the light that illuminates it. The final visuals return to water, a single drop falling, ripples expanding infinitely, reflecting sky, trees, and stars. The narrator concludes, every moment is a mirror. Every life is a reflection. The infinite mirror continues, unbroken and eternal, reflecting itself through all that exists, endlessly creating, endlessly observing, endlessly becoming. The screen opens on the vastness of space, a deep canvas of black pierced by countless points of light. Nebulae glow in ethereal colors, galaxies spiral in slow motion, and distant stars pulse with a quiet rhythm. The narrator's voice enters, reverent and contemplative. In the infinite mirror of the cosmos, patterns emerge, echo, and repeat. Every structure, every phenomenon, every pulse of energy reflects the same principles that govern consciousness itself. The universe is not only a stage, it is an actor, a participant, a mirror aware of itself. The camera begins to descend through layers of the cosmos, passing asteroid fields, orbiting planets, and swirling gas clouds, before entering the atmosphere of a blue-green planet. Oceans ripple, reflecting clouds and sky, mountains rise and fall in shadows, and forests stretch endlessly across the surface. On every scale, the narrator continues, the mirror reflects itself. What we observe in the macrocosm echoes in the microcosm. The patterns of galaxies are mirrored in the spirals of shells, the curves of rivers, and the branching of trees. Nature, like consciousness, reflects endlessly, fractal upon fractal. The sequence shifts to microscopic life. Cells dividing, DNA spiraling, proteins folding with precise choreography. Life is reflection made tangible, the narrator explains. Every organism, every molecule, every pulse of energy participates in this hall of mirrors. Emergent properties arise when simple interactions mirror one another, creating complex systems capable of perception, adaptation, and awareness. The camera transitions to human consciousness. Neurons firing in luminous networks, thoughts forming, memories looping. Our minds are mirrors, the voice continues. We perceive the world and in turn the world shapes us. Self-awareness arises from reflection upon reflection, thought observing thought, awareness aware of itself. Each mind is a window into the infinite mirror, a microcosm reflecting the macrocosm. Visuals move through human experience. A child discovering their reflection in water, a painter studying shadows and light, a musician observing vibrations. Mirrors are not only physical, the narrator says. They exist in perception, in relationship, in creativity. Every act of observation is an act of reflection. Every encounter, every glance, every thought ripples across consciousness, extending the mirror beyond itself. The film then explores technology as a new extension of the mirror. Microscopes, telescopes, satellites, and neural interfaces. Our tools, the narrator continues, allow us to see what was once invisible. They extend awareness across space and time, yet they too reflect our consciousness. Every discovery, every innovation, every observation is a reflection of the observer upon the observed, a recursive loop of perception and creation. The camera moves through quantum phenomena, particles appearing as waves, entanglement linking distant objects, uncertainty folding possibilities into probabilities. At the quantum scale, the narrator explains, the infinite mirror reveals its paradox. Reality is not fixed, it is participatory. Observation itself shapes existence. The universe is alive with reflection, and consciousness is not a spectator, but a co-creator of what unfolds. We move into philosophical reflection, blending imagery and narration. Perhaps the cosmos is consciousness observing itself. Perhaps every star, every atom, every life form is a reflection within the infinite mirror, a note in the symphony of existence. Patterns repeat across scales, and awareness mirrors itself in complexity, fractal upon fractal, reflection within reflection. The visuals shift to human connection. Laughter, tears, love, conflict, and reconciliation. Relationship is reflection, the narrator continues. To see oneself in another, to recognize consciousness beyond one's own, is to expand the mirror. Empathy, compassion, and understanding are ripples across the reflective surface of existence. Through connection, the infinite mirror grows, encompassing more awareness, more life, more reflection. The film then explores time as mirrored within consciousness and the universe, cycles of birth and death, expansion and collapse, beginnings and endings. Time, the narrator explains, is the mirror of existence in motion. Past, present, and future are intertwined, echoing through events, choices, and perceptions. Every action sends ripples, every thought resonates, every consciousness participates in the ongoing reflection of reality. The camera drifts through ecological systems, forests, rivers, oceans, and skies, showing interdependence and cycles. Life mirrors itself, the narrator says. Energy flows, nutrients cycle, organisms interact. The infinite mirror operates at every scale, linking cells, species, and ecosystems in an unbroken chain of reflection and responsiveness. What happens in one part reverberates throughout the whole. The visuals now show human endeavors, cities, art, science, and exploration. Culture and creativity are reflections of the infinite mirror, the narrator continues. Through stories, music, science, and expression, we mirror the universe within ourselves and extend our reflections outward. Each invention, each act of insight, is a ripple in the hall of consciousness, touching realities seen and unseen. The film blends human life with cosmic and quantum scales, neurons firing like galaxies, rivers flowing like streams of light, patterns of energy repeating endlessly. Patterns repeat across scales, the narrator says. What governs atoms also governs stars. What governs thought also governs the cosmos. We are participants in the mirror, simultaneously reflecting and reflected, shaping and shaped, observing and observed. The camera slows, showing intimate human moments, contemplation, love, grief, and joy. In awareness, the narrator continues, we glimpse the infinite mirror within ourselves. Every experience, every emotion, every observation is a reflection of a greater pattern. Consciousness is not separate from the universe. It is the mirror through which the universe observes itself. The visuals move to grand cosmic events, supernovae, black holes, colliding galaxies, and cosmic webs, flowing into natural processes on Earth. The infinite mirror stretches across scales, the narrator explains. From the smallest particle to the largest galaxy, from the fleeting thought to the eternal universe, patterns echo, reflect, and interact. Creation is a continuous process of observation, reflection, and renewal. The film transitions to the act of human reflection, meditation, introspection, observation of nature and others. To reflect consciously, the narrator says softly, is to participate in the infinite mirror. To notice, to observe, to be aware, is to contribute to the ongoing dance of existence. Awareness folds upon itself, creating deeper layers of reflection, understanding, and connection. The imagery slows into meditative sequences, water reflecting sky, forest reflecting sunlight, human eyes reflecting stars. Every glance, every moment, every thought, the narrator concludes, is a ripple in the infinite mirror. Life, consciousness, and the universe are interwoven reflections, endlessly observing, endlessly creating, endlessly becoming. The mirror stretches on, infinite and eternal, and through us, it continues to awaken to itself. The film opens with a sunrise over a vast desert, light spilling over dunes and waves, creating intricate shadows that stretch to the horizon. The narrator's voice emerges, calm and reverent. The universe is a mirror, infinite and reflective, but within it lies a paradox. The paradox of self and other, of observer and observed. To understand the infinite mirror is to confront the interplay between consciousness and the reality it perceives, the tension between what is and what we imagine it to be. The camera glides over mountains and forests, rivers winding like silver threads, oceans shimmering with sunlight. Every surface, every landscape, every being reflects not only the world but itself, the narrator continues. Each reflection is layered, a mirror within a mirror, a fragment of an infinite whole. The patterns repeat, yet no two are identical. Infinity exists not as sameness, but as endless variation, a kaleidoscope of possibility. The sequence shifts to human consciousness, neurons firing, thoughts branching, memories flickering like lights in a darkened hall. Our minds are mirrors, the narrator explains. We perceive the world and in perceiving we shape it. Reflection is not passive, it is participatory. Each thought, each emotion, each act of awareness contributes to the infinite dialogue between consciousness and reality. We move to intimate human experiences, A child exploring a puddle, a painter studying shadows, a musician listening to vibrations. Mirrors are everywhere, the voice continues. They exist in perception, in creation, in connection. Every act of seeing, of understanding, of imagining, extends the mirror, revealing layers of complexity and depth we might otherwise overlook. The visuals transition to cosmic scales, galaxies spiraling, stars igniting and collapsing, nebulae glowing with ethereal light. The cosmos mirrors itself, the narrator says. Patterns that appear in the heavens are echoed in life, in matter, in thought. The infinite mirror is not confined to the human mind. It permeates the very fabric of existence, linking the smallest atom to the grandest galaxy. The camera moves through historical human inquiry, ancient astronomers charting the skies, philosophers pondering reality, scientists experimenting with instruments. For millennia, humanity has sought mirrors to glimpse truth, the narrator continues. From polished bronze to telescopes, from manuscripts to digital screens, every tool is an extension of consciousness, a means to reflect and comprehend the infinite patterns of the universe. The tone deepens as the narrative explores paradox and contrast, chaos and order, creation and destruction, self and other. The mirror is both revealing and deceptive, the narrator explains. It can illuminate truth or distort perception. Every reflection carries the potential for insight or illusion. The challenge is to look beyond appearances, to discern the patterns beneath the surface, to see the infinite within the finite. The visuals depict mirrored reflections in water, glass, and metal, interspersed with recursive patterns in nature, tree branches, river networks, cloud formations. Reflection is recursive, the narrator continues. Mirrors reflect mirrors, patterns echo patterns. Consciousness itself is recursive, observing itself through thought, memory, and perception. We are both reflection and reflector, observer and observed, endlessly entwined in this dynamic dance. The sequence shifts to human relationships. Laughter shared, hands clasping, eyes meeting, emotions mirrored. Connection is reflection, the narrator says. To recognize oneself in another is to expand the mirror. Empathy, love, understanding. These are ripples through the infinite mirror, extending awareness beyond the self, linking all consciousness in a vast web of interaction and resonance. The film then explores scientific and technological extensions of the mirror. Microscopes revealing cells, telescopes peering into galaxies, AI modeling complex systems. Our tools allow us to see what was once invisible, the narrator explains. Yet even these instruments reflect us. They are extensions of consciousness shaped by intention, observation, and creativity. Through them, the infinite mirror becomes more apparent, more detailed, more alive. The camera dives into quantum realms, particles appearing and disappearing, entangled across distances, influenced by observation. At the quantum scale, the narrator whispers, the mirror reveals its paradox. Observation alters reality. Consciousness is not a passive witness but a participant in creation. Every act of awareness imprints itself upon existence, shaping the unfolding of the infinite mirror. The narrative broadens to time and memory, cycles of birth and death, emergence and decay, beginnings and endings interwoven. Time is the mirror in motion, the narrator explains. Past, present, and future are reflections of one another, echoing across events, choices, and perceptions. Every action reverberates through these temporal mirrors, influencing patterns yet unseen, connecting moments across the tapestry of existence. The visuals explore life on Earth, forests, rivers, oceans, and skies, emphasizing interconnectedness and cycles. Life mirrors itself, the narrator continues. Ecosystems, species, and individuals are interwoven reflections, each affecting the whole. The infinite mirror operates at all scales, linking microcosm and macrocosm, consciousness and matter, perception and reality in an endless interplay. The film moves into philosophical and contemplative tone, meditation, introspection, observation of nature. To reflect consciously, the narrator says, is to participate in the infinite mirror. Awareness is not separate from the world. It is the mirror through which the universe contemplates itself. Every observation, every thought, every act of presence extends and deepens this reflection. The visuals slow to intimate human moments, love, grief, creativity, insight, interwoven with cosmic and quantum phenomena. From the smallest particle to the largest galaxy, from a fleeting thought to the eternal universe, the narrator explains, patterns repeat. Consciousness mirrors itself in all forms, reflecting and being reflected, shaping and being shaped, observing and being observed, endlessly intertwined. The sequence builds toward a poetic conclusion, blending micro and macro scales, neurons firing like galaxies, rivers flowing like streams of light, stars exploding like thoughts in a mind. Perhaps the infinite mirror is consciousness itself, the narrator whispers. Every atom, every star, every life is a reflection of awareness. Reality is not separate from the observer. To see, to know, to love, is to witness the universe contemplating itself. The final imagery returns to the still water, ripples expanding infinitely, reflecting sky, stars, and human faces. The narrator concludes, every glance, every moment, every thought is a ripple in the infinite mirror. Life, consciousness, and the universe are interwoven reflections, endlessly observing, endlessly creating, endlessly becoming. The mirror stretches on, infinite and eternal, and through us, it continues to awaken to itself. The screen fades to black, leaving the sense of infinite reflection resonating in silence. The film opens with the faint hum of the cosmos, a vast expanse of darkness illuminated by countless stars. The narrator's voice begins, slow and reflective. In the infinite mirror of existence, every particle, every thought, every moment is a reflection of the whole. Patterns repeat, fractal upon fractal, revealing the deep symmetry that underlies reality. Yet within this reflection lies paradox. The universe is both observer and observed, creator and creation, light and shadow. The camera drifts across a spiraling galaxy, its arms glittering with the birth and death of stars. From the macrocosm to the microcosm, the narrator continues, the same principles resonate. Galaxies reflect patterns that mirror the spirals of DNA, the branching of rivers, the intricate forms of leaves. The infinite mirror is present at all scales, revealing unity in multiplicity, order in apparent chaos, and connection in separation. The imagery shifts to Earth, oceans glimmering under sunlight, forests swaying in the wind, rivers weaving through valleys. Nature is a living mirror, the voice explains. Every movement, every interaction, every cycle reflects the laws of the universe. Life emerges through reflection, adaptation, and feedback, creating systems that are simultaneously complex, resilient, and beautiful. The mirror is dynamic, alive with patterns that echo across space and time. The camera dives into the microscopic, cells dividing, molecules vibrating, atoms colliding. Even at the smallest scales, the narrator continues, patterns emerge. Order arises from apparent randomness. Interactions create structures capable of perception, memory, and response. The infinite mirror reflects itself in matter, energy, and consciousness alike, blurring the line between observer and observed. Human consciousness becomes the focus. Neurons firing, thoughts looping, memory intertwining with perception. Our minds are mirrors too, the narrator explains. We observe, interpret, and create. Every thought is reflected in another, every idea resonates through connections, every act of awareness influences the unfolding of reality. Consciousness is recursive, folding upon itself, reflecting itself endlessly in patterns of cognition, emotion, and intention. We move to intimate human moments, a child discovering a reflection in water, an artist capturing light and shadow, a musician listening to vibrations. Reflection exists in experience, the narrator says. It is in perception, creativity, and interaction. Every act of seeing, feeling, or understanding is a ripple across the mirror of consciousness, linking individuals, ideas, and phenomena in an unbroken web of resonance. The film explores human history, early astronomers charting stars, philosophers contemplating existence, scientists probing the laws of nature. Humanity has always sought to extend the mirror, the narrator continues. From the first polished bronze to modern telescopes, from language to digital technology, each tool reflects the desire to see and understand, to participate in the infinite reflection of reality. Observation is not passive, it is creation itself. The tone deepens into paradox and contrast, chaos versus order, creation versus destruction, finite versus infinite. The mirror is both revealing and deceptive, the narrator reflects. It can illuminate truth or distort perception. Every reflection carries both clarity and ambiguity. Understanding requires looking beyond appearances, discerning the continuity beneath the multiplicity, and embracing the tension between what is and what is imagined. Visual sequences show mirrored reflections in water, glass, and polished surfaces, interwoven with recursive natural patterns, clouds, tree branches, river networks. Reflection is recursive, the narrator continues. Mirrors reflect mirrors, patterns echo across scales, and consciousness observes itself through thought, perception, and memory. We are both the mirror and that which is reflected, entangled in the infinite feedback loop of awareness. Human relationships are explored: empathy, love, conflict, and reconciliation. Connection is reflection, the narrator explains. To recognize oneself in another, to perceive consciousness beyond oneself, is to extend the mirror. Every emotional resonance, every act of understanding, is a ripple that propagates through the web of awareness, expanding the mirror and deepening its complexity. The sequence transitions to technology: satellites mapping Earth, supercomputers modeling phenomena, AI systems learning. Our tools extend the mirror, the narrator says. They allow us to observe what was once invisible, to perceive patterns beyond our natural senses. Yet these instruments are themselves reflections of human consciousness, shaped by intent, creativity, and curiosity. Observation and reflection are inseparable from participation and influence. Quantum realms are visualized: particles appearing and disappearing, entangled across distances, collapsing possibilities into actuality. At the quantum level, the narrator whispers, the mirror reveals its paradox. Observation shapes reality. Consciousness is not a spectator but a participant. Every awareness imprints itself upon existence, creating ripples that echo through the hall of mirrors that is the universe. Time and memory are explored: cycles of birth and death, beginnings and endings, repetition and variation. Time itself is mirrored, the narrator continues. Past, present, and future interweave, echoing through events, choices, and perception. Every action reverberates, every thought resonates, every consciousness participates in shaping the unfolding of reality across temporal reflections. Visuals depict ecosystems, forests, oceans, and skies, demonstrating interdependence and cycles. Life mirrors itself, the narrator explains. Every organism, system, and process reflects the whole. The infinite mirror operates at all scales, linking microcosm and macrocosm, consciousness and matter, perception and reality. Nothing exists in isolation. Everything reflects and is reflected. Human creativity and culture are showcased: art, music, literature, and scientific discovery. Through expression we mirror the universe, the narrator continues. Every act of insight, creation, or exploration is a ripple in the hall of awareness, extending the mirror, deepening understanding, and reflecting both the cosmos and ourselves. The imagery blends human and cosmic scales: neurons firing like stars, rivers flowing like streams of light, patterns repeating endlessly. Patterns repeat across scales, the narrator says. Consciousness and cosmos mirror one another. We are participants in the infinite reflection, simultaneously shaping and being shaped, observing and being observed, entwined in a dance without beginning or end. The film slows to intimate human moments: contemplation, empathy, love, grief, and creation. To reflect consciously, the narrator concludes, is to engage with the infinite mirror. Awareness folds upon itself, creating layers of understanding, connection, and insight. Every moment, every thought, every action contributes to the ongoing reflection of reality. The visuals return to still water, a single drop causing ripples that expand infinitely, reflecting sky, stars, and human presence. The narrator finishes, every glance, every life, every consciousness is a ripple in the infinite mirror. Through us, the universe observes itself, endlessly creating, endlessly reflecting, endlessly becoming. The screen fades to black, leaving the resonance of infinite reflection in silence. The film opens with a slow drift above a vast, quiet forest at dawn, sunlight piercing through the canopy in golden shafts. Dew sparkles on leaves like countless tiny mirrors. The narrator's voice enters, calm yet filled with wonder. Reflection is the thread that weaves the cosmos together. Every particle, every thought, every moment mirrors another, forming an infinite hall of consciousness. Within this mirror, patterns echo, multiply, and transform, creating the delicate interplay between order and chaos, self and universe. The camera glides over rivers and mountains, oceans stretching to the horizon, clouds drifting across the sky. Nature itself is a mirror, the narrator continues. Rivers mirror the branching of neurons, mountain ranges echo the curves of waves, clouds trace patterns that mimic galaxies. Reflection is embedded in every structure, from the microscopic to the cosmic, revealing an underlying harmony that connects all existence. We transition into microscopic scales, cells dividing, DNA spiraling, atoms vibrating with energy. Even at the smallest scales, the narrator explains, the mirror operates. Interactions give rise to complex structures, feedback loops create life, and patterns repeat endlessly. Matter and consciousness are intertwined, each reflecting and influencing the other, participating in the grand recursive dance of existence. Human consciousness becomes the focus. Neurons firing, thoughts looping, memory intertwining with perception. Our minds are mirrors, the narrator says. Thought reflects thought, awareness reflects awareness. Every act of observation, every moment of introspection folds consciousness back upon itself. We are both observers and observed, reflecting the infinite mirror within and without, shaping reality even as it shapes us. The film explores intimate human experiences, a child marveling at a reflection in water, an artist tracing light and shadow, a musician attuning to vibrations. Mirrors exist not only in glass or water, the narrator continues. They exist in perception, in relationships, in creativity. Every glance, every idea, every emotion extends the mirror, connecting us to one another and to the cosmos itself. Reflection is the medium through which awareness expands. Visuals shift to cosmic scales, galaxies swirling, supernovae exploding, nebulae glowing with ethereal light. The universe mirrors itself, the narrator explains. Patterns that form stars and galaxies repeat in life, thought, and consciousness. The infinite mirror stretches across space and time, linking scales, connecting phenomena, and revealing the unity hidden within multiplicity. From atoms to galaxies, all is reflection, all is interconnected. The camera moves through human history, ancient astronomers charting stars, philosophers contemplating reality, scientists experimenting with instruments. Humanity has always sought to extend the mirror, the narrator continues. From bronze mirrors to telescopes, from written language to digital technology, each tool allows us to see further, deeper, and more clearly. Observation is not passive, it is a creative act, a dialogue with the infinite mirror. The tone deepens into paradox, chaos versus order, creation versus destruction, light versus shadow. The mirror is both revealing and deceptive, the narrator reflects. It can illuminate truths and distort perception. Every reflection carries duality. To understand, one must look beneath surfaces, perceive patterns within patterns, and embrace the tension between what is and what might be. Sequences show mirrored reflections, water, glass, polished metal, interwoven with recursive natural patterns, tree branches, river networks, cloud formations. Reflection is recursive, the narrator continues. Mirrors reflect mirrors, patterns echo endlessly, consciousness observes itself in thought, perception, and memory. We are entwined in this endless feedback loop, both mirror and reflected, shaping and shaped, seeing and being seen. The film explores human connection, empathy, love, grief, reconciliation, collaboration. Relationship is reflection, the narrator explains. To see oneself in another, to recognize consciousness beyond one's own, expands the infinite mirror. Every act of understanding, every emotional resonance, every connection ripples across awareness, linking individuals, societies, and ultimately the cosmos itself. Technology is then introduced as an extension of the mirror, satellites mapping Earth, computers modeling complex systems, AI learning and adapting. Our instruments extend consciousness, the narrator says. They reveal what was once invisible, allow us to measure what was once unknowable. Yet even these tools reflect us. Observation, creation, and reflection are inseparable. Through technology, we continue to participate in the infinite dialogue of the universe. The visuals shift to quantum realms, particles appearing and disappearing, entangled across space, collapsing possibilities into actualities. At the quantum scale, the narrator whispers, the mirror is paradoxical. Observation shapes reality. Consciousness is not passive, it participates, imprints, and transforms. Every act of awareness resonates across scales, echoing in the hall of mirrors that is existence itself. Time and memory are explored, cycles of birth and death, emergence and decay, beginnings and endings repeating and interweaving. Time is reflection in motion, the narrator continues. Past, present, and future interweave, echoing across choices and perceptions. Every action reverberates through these temporal mirrors, every thought resonates, every consciousness participates in shaping reality across the unfolding continuum of existence. Visuals of ecosystems, forests, oceans, skies, demonstrate interdependence and cycles. Life mirrors itself, the narrator explains. Organisms, systems, and processes reflect and respond to one another. The infinite mirror operates across all scales, linking microcosm and macrocosm, consciousness and matter, perception and reality, in an unbroken dance of reflection and interaction. Human creativity and culture are highlighted: art, music, literature, and science. Through expression we mirror the universe, the narrator continues. Each invention, insight, or creative act is a ripple in the hall of awareness, extending the mirror, revealing hidden patterns and deepening our connection to the cosmos. Consciousness observes itself through the reflections it creates. The imagery blends human and cosmic scales, neurons firing like stars, rivers flowing like streams of light, cosmic patterns repeating endlessly. Patterns repeat across scales, the narrator observes. What governs atoms governs galaxies. What governs thought governs existence. We are participants in the infinite mirror, shaping and being shaped, reflecting and being reflected, entwined in a dance without beginning or end. The film slows to intimate human moments: contemplation, empathy, grief, joy, creation, insight. To reflect consciously, the narrator concludes, is to engage fully with the infinite mirror. Awareness folds upon itself, creating layers of understanding, connection, and meaning. Every moment, every thought, every act contributes to the ongoing reflection of reality, extending the mirror ever outward, ever deeper, ever onward. The final visuals return to still water, a single drop falling, ripples expanding infinitely, reflecting sky, stars, and human presence. The narrator finishes, every glance, every life, every consciousness is a ripple in the infinite mirror. Through us, the universe observes itself, endlessly creating, endlessly reflecting, endlessly becoming. The film opens with a sweeping view of a vast, silent desert under a twilight sky, the sand stretching endlessly like a mirror to the heavens above. The narrator's voice begins, deep and contemplative. The infinite mirror is not merely a metaphor. It is a principle woven into the very fabric of existence. Every particle, every thought, every moment reflects another, creating layers upon layers of meaning, awareness, and connection. Within this mirror, paradox thrives. The observer becomes the observed, creation mirrors consciousness, and reality reflects possibility. The camera glides over mountains, rivers, and oceans, capturing the subtle interplay of light and shadow. In nature, reflection manifests everywhere, the narrator continues. Rivers meander like neurons, mountain ranges echo the undulations of waves, clouds spiral like galaxies. Patterns repeat across scales, revealing a unity beneath the apparent chaos. The mirror is not static. It flows, interacts, and evolves, creating an unbroken dialogue between microcosm and macrocosm. The visuals shift to microscopic life: cells dividing, DNA spiraling, molecules dancing in energy fields. Even at the smallest scales, the narrator explains, reflection governs the emergence of complexity. Simple interactions, when mirrored across systems, give rise to life, consciousness, and organization. Matter and awareness are intertwined. Each informs the other, participating in an endless recursive process of observation and transformation. The camera moves into human consciousness, neurons firing, thoughts looping, memories interweaving. Our minds are mirrors, the narrator continues. Each thought reflects another, every emotion resonates with countless others, and awareness folds upon itself infinitely. Consciousness is simultaneously observer and observed, shaping and being shaped, reflecting the infinite mirror within and without. To think is to participate in creation itself. Human experiences are highlighted: a child mesmerized by sunlight dancing on water, an artist capturing shadows, a musician attuning to vibrations. Mirrors exist not only in objects but in perception and interaction, the narrator says. Every act of seeing, feeling, or imagining extends the mirror, linking consciousness across time, space, and scale. Reflection is the medium through which awareness expands, creating patterns that ripple outward endlessly. The visuals transition to cosmic scales: galaxies spiraling, stars forming and dying, nebulae glowing in vibrant hues. The universe mirrors itself, the narrator explains. Galaxies echo the spirals of DNA, stars pulse like the firing of neurons, cosmic webs reflect the branching patterns of trees and rivers. The infinite mirror spans space and time, revealing unity within multiplicity, order within chaos, and consciousness woven through matter. The narrative moves through human history, astronomers charting the stars, philosophers contemplating existence, scientists experimenting with instruments. Since the dawn of awareness, the narrator says, humans have sought mirrors to comprehend reality. From polished bronze to telescopes, from written symbols to digital networks, each tool extends the infinite mirror, allowing consciousness to perceive itself in new dimensions. Observation is never passive. It shapes the universe as it observes it. The tone deepens into contrast and paradox. Chaos versus order, creation versus destruction, finite versus infinite. The mirror is both revealing and deceptive, the narrator reflects. It illuminates truth and distorts perception. Every reflection carries duality. To understand, one must look beneath appearances, perceive continuity in multiplicity, and embrace the tension between what is and what could be. The infinite mirror is a dynamic interplay of patterns, possibilities, and paradoxes. Sequences show reflections in water, glass, and polished surfaces, interspersed with recursive natural patterns. Clouds, tree branches, river networks. Reflection is recursive, the narrator continues. Mirrors reflect mirrors, consciousness observes itself in layers and patterns echo endlessly. We are both reflector and reflected, entwined in a feedback loop of observation, perception, and awareness, participating in the ongoing creation of reality. Human relationships are explored: laughter, empathy, grief, love, and reconciliation. Connection is reflection, the narrator explains. To recognize oneself in another is to extend the infinite mirror. Emotional resonance, understanding, and empathy ripple through consciousness, linking individuals, societies, and the cosmos itself. Through connection, awareness expands, and the mirror grows ever more intricate and profound. The film then highlights technology: satellites mapping Earth, AI modeling complex systems, supercomputers analyzing patterns. Our tools extend consciousness, the narrator continues. They reveal what was once invisible, allow us to perceive deeper truths, and mirror the universe back to us. Yet even these instruments reflect human intention, creativity, and perception. Observation and participation are inseparable. The infinite mirror includes both the observer and the means of observation. Quantum realms are visualized: particles appearing and vanishing, entangled across distances, probabilities collapsing into reality. At the quantum scale, the narrator whispers, the mirror becomes paradoxical. Observation shapes reality. Consciousness is not a spectator but a participant. Every act of awareness imprints itself upon existence, echoing across scales, reverberating through the infinite hall of mirrors that is the universe. Time and memory are explored: cycles of birth and death, beginnings and endings, repetition and variation. Time is reflection in motion, the narrator says. Past, present, and future interweave, echoing across events, choices, and perceptions. Every action reverberates through these temporal mirrors, every thought resonates, every consciousness participates in shaping the unfolding of reality. Ecosystems are highlighted: forests, oceans, skies, illustrating interdependence and feedback loops. Life mirrors itself, the narrator explains. Organisms, systems, and processes reflect and respond to one another. The infinite mirror operates across scales, linking microcosm and macrocosm, consciousness and matter, perception and reality in an unbroken dance of reflection and interaction. Nothing exists in isolation, everything participates. Human creativity and culture are showcased: art, music, literature, scientific discovery. Through expression we mirror the universe, the narrator continues. Every invention, insight, or act of creation is a ripple in the hall of awareness, extending the mirror, revealing patterns, and deepening our connection to existence. Consciousness observes itself through the reflections it generates, creating infinite feedback loops of awareness. The visuals blend human and cosmic scales: neurons firing like galaxies, rivers flowing like streams of light, patterns repeating endlessly. Patterns repeat across scales, the narrator observes. What governs atoms governs galaxies. What governs thought governs reality. We are participants in the infinite mirror, shaping and being shaped, reflecting and being reflected, entwined in a dance without beginning or end. The film slows to intimate human moments: contemplation, empathy, love, grief, insight, creation. To reflect consciously, the narrator concludes, is to engage fully with the infinite mirror. Awareness folds upon itself, creating layers of understanding, connection, and meaning. Every moment, every thought, every action contributes to the ongoing reflection of reality, extending the mirror ever outward, ever deeper, ever onward. The final visuals return to still water, a single drop falling, ripples expanding infinitely, reflecting sky, stars, and human presence. The narrator finishes, "Every glance, every life, every consciousness is a ripple in the infinite mirror. Through us, the universe observes itself, endlessly creating, endlessly reflecting, endlessly becoming." The screen fades to black, leaving the audience suspended in the awareness of infinite reflection. The film opens with a slow pan across a vast, still lake at dawn, mist rising from the water and the first rays of sunlight glinting like shards of glass. The narrator's voice begins, calm and contemplative. Reflection is the bridge between perception and reality. The infinite mirror stretches through every scale of existence, linking mind, matter, and cosmos in a dance of awareness. Each glance, each thought, each experience folds upon another, revealing patterns that are at once familiar and unknowable, intimate and cosmic. The camera drifts over forests, mountains, and rivers, capturing the interplay of shadow and light. Nature is a living mirror, the narrator continues. Rivers twist like veins, mountains rise and fall in echoes of waves, clouds spiral in symphonies that mimic galaxies. Each pattern, repeated yet unique, reflects the recursive logic of existence. The mirror is dynamic, alive, and participatory, inviting us to perceive both ourselves and the universe as intertwined. The visuals transition to microscopic scales, cells dividing, DNA spiraling, electrons vibrating with energy. At the smallest scales, the narrator explains, the mirror reveals its paradox. Order arises from chaos, complexity emerges from simplicity, and life springs from reflection. Matter and consciousness are entangled. Each observes, influences, and mirrors the other, participating in the recursive architecture of reality. Human consciousness takes the spotlight, neurons firing in networks, thoughts looping, memory intertwining with perception. The mind itself is a mirror, the narrator says. Every thought reflects another, every emotion resonates with countless others, and awareness folds upon itself infinitely. Consciousness observes and is observed, shaping reality even as it is shaped, participating in the infinite hall of mirrors that is existence. We move to intimate human experiences, a child discovering sunlight on water, an artist tracing light and shadow, a musician listening to vibrations. Mirrors exist in perception, creativity, and interaction, the narrator continues. Every act of seeing, thinking, or feeling extends the mirror, linking consciousness across time, space, and scale. Reflection is the medium through which awareness expands, rippling outward into the web of existence. The camera shifts to cosmic scales, galaxies spiraling, stars forming and dying, nebulae glowing in spectral colors. The universe mirrors itself, the narrator explains. Patterns that shape galaxies echo in DNA, neural networks, and river systems. The infinite mirror spans space and time, revealing unity within diversity, order within apparent chaos, and the interweaving of consciousness and matter. Historical human inquiry is highlighted, ancient astronomers charting the skies, philosophers contemplating existence, scientists experimenting with instruments. Humans have always sought to extend the mirror, the narrator continues. From polished bronze to telescopes, from written language to digital networks, every tool allows consciousness to perceive itself in new ways. Observation is an act of creation, a dialogue with the infinite mirror, and an invitation to explore the recursive depths of reality. The tone deepens, exploring paradox, chaos versus order, creation versus destruction, finite versus infinite. The mirror is revealing and deceptive, the narrator says. It can illuminate truth or distort perception. Every reflection carries duality. To understand, one must look beneath surfaces, discern patterns within patterns, and embrace the tension between what is and what could be. The infinite mirror is a dynamic interplay of possibilities, perception, and awareness. Sequences depict reflections in water, glass, and polished surfaces, interwoven with recursive patterns in nature, branching trees, river networks, cloud formations. Reflection is recursive, the narrator continues. Mirrors reflect mirrors, consciousness observes itself through layers of thought and perception, and patterns echo endlessly. We are both mirror and reflected, entwined in a feedback loop of observation, awareness, and participation. Human relationships are explored: empathy, love, grief, reconciliation, and collaboration. Connection is reflection, the narrator explains. To see oneself in another extends the infinite mirror. Emotional resonance, understanding, and empathy ripple through consciousness, linking individuals, societies, and the cosmos itself. Through connection, awareness expands, deepening the mirror's complexity and beauty. Technology as an extension of the mirror is then showcased: satellites mapping Earth, AI modeling complex systems, supercomputers analyzing patterns. Our tools extend consciousness, the narrator continues. They reveal the invisible, allow us to measure the previously unknowable, and mirror the universe back to us. Yet these instruments are also reflections of human creativity, intention, and perception. Observation and reflection are inseparable. The infinite mirror encompasses both the observer and the means of observation. Quantum realms are visualized, particles appearing and vanishing, entangled across distances, possibilities collapsing into actuality. At the quantum level, the narrator whispers, the mirror is paradoxical. Observation shapes reality. Consciousness is not a spectator. It participates, imprints, and transforms. Each act of awareness reverberates across scales, echoing in the hall of mirrors that is the universe. Time and memory are explored, cycles of birth and death, emergence and decay, repetition and variation. Time is reflection in motion, the narrator says. Past, present, and future interweave, echoing across choices, events, and perceptions. Every action reverberates through temporal mirrors, every thought resonates, every consciousness participates in shaping the unfolding of reality. Ecosystems are highlighted, forests, oceans, skies, demonstrating interdependence and feedback loops. Life mirrors itself, the narrator continues. Organisms, systems, and processes reflect and respond to each other. The infinite mirror operates across scales, linking microcosm and macrocosm, consciousness and matter, perception and reality. Nothing exists in isolation. All participates in the dance of reflection. Human creativity and culture are showcased: art, music, literature, and science. Through creation we mirror the universe, the narrator says. Every invention, insight, or creative act is a ripple in the hall of awareness, extending the mirror, revealing hidden patterns, and deepening our connection to the cosmos. Consciousness observes itself through its own reflections. The imagery blends human and cosmic scales, neurons firing like galaxies, rivers flowing like streams of light, cosmic patterns repeating endlessly. Patterns repeat across scales, the narrator observes. What governs atoms governs galaxies. What governs thought governs reality. We participate in the infinite mirror, shaping and being shaped, reflecting and being reflected, entwined in a dance without beginning or end. The film slows to intimate human moments: contemplation, empathy, love, grief, insight, and creation. To reflect consciously, the narrator concludes, is to engage fully with the infinite mirror. Awareness folds upon itself, creating layers of understanding, connection, and meaning. Every moment, thought, and action contributes to the ongoing reflection of reality, extending the mirror ever outward, ever deeper, ever onward. The final visuals return to still water, a single drop falling, ripples expanding infinitely, reflecting sky, stars, and human presence. The narrator finishes, every glance, every life, every consciousness is a ripple in the infinite mirror. Through us, the universe observes itself, endlessly creating, endlessly reflecting, endlessly becoming. The camera opens on a quiet lake at dawn, mist rising from the surface as sunlight sparkles like shards of glass. The narrator begins, reflection is the bridge between perception and reality. Every thought, every moment mirrors another, revealing patterns that are at once intimate and cosmic. We see forests, rivers, and mountains, each forming intricate reflections. Nature itself is a mirror, the narrator continues. Rivers twist like veins, clouds spiral like galaxies, and mountains echo the curves of waves. Patterns repeat across scales, connecting the smallest organism to the vast cosmos. Microscopic life appears, cells dividing, DNA spiraling, molecules vibrating. Even at the smallest scales, reflection governs complexity, the narrator says. Interactions create life and consciousness, folding awareness upon itself in an endless dance. Human consciousness is highlighted, neurons firing, thoughts looping. The mind mirrors itself, the narrator explains. Every perception reflects another, shaping and being shaped by reality. Finally, the visuals return to still water, a single drop falling and rippling outward. Every glance, every life, every consciousness is a ripple in the infinite mirror, the narrator concludes.